A Barndominium for under 100K? I don't think so. How much do you guys think this costs? We're gonna break that down in this video for you, and then we're gonna give you a tour. Total square footage of this entire building, 40 by 96, is 3,840 square feet. 2,200 is living, 1,300 in the garage, and then you have a utility room and a large storage area. All right, guys, now that you know all the specs, I would love for you guys to leave a comment on what you think this house is going to cost. I can guarantee you it's not under 100K, but I would love to see your answers before you watch the video. But let's go ahead and jump into the numbers. All right, let's dive in. Site prep. This included a 200-foot driveway, grading and rock, and then it included 112 by 48-foot building pad. The total for that with material and labor was $16,960. So if we break that down, the total cost for materials, and the only materials involved in this part was the rock. The rock was $55.60. The labor was $11,400. And when you think about that, everybody's like, oh my gosh, that is so much money. This building site needed a decent amount of work. They're driving in a semi with a huge track loader, skid steer, and all of the necessary equipment. So that labor includes the cost of their equipment, the operating cost of their equipment. So you have to take that into consideration. Can you do this yourself? You absolutely can. It can be done. Most of the sites can be done with a skid steer. It's just going to take you forever. You have to have the equipment to do it also. And depending on your location, maybe you have a site that's 4 or 5 feet off in grade from one end to the other. You need to bring in a vibratory roller or something to make sure that you're compacting the lifts of soil properly so that you have a good foundation long term. So just take that into consideration when you're doing this. The next step was the foundation. This had a pier foundation. So we had 39 piers in this build, 18, 20-inch in diameter, 54 inches deep. And the total cost for that was $9,105. $5,063 was materials, and $4,041 was labor. So if you're asking yourself, what is included in the materials? You have concrete costs, which you're looking for that size of a pier, you're looking at about a third of concrete per hole. You have the bracket cost, you have the sonotube, you have the hardware, and then labor is to lay everything out, drill all the holes, pour the concrete, set all the brackets, and make sure it's all nice and square. On a job like this, it would be minimum $40,000, $50,000 to get a footing and frost wall put in. Now that might not be everywhere. Maybe you can do that. One way that I've done it before is I've used ICF blocks. You still have to do all the excavation. You also can build your own forms. If you have the time and the knowledge on how to do that, it can be done. I did it on our storm shelter. I've done it on additions that I've done in the past because I wanted to save the money on all of that labor. And it's just a decision you have to make. And that goes into that whole thing, good, cheap, and fast. I want good and cheap, but building my own forms and pouring my own frost wall is not fast. So those are things to consider. So getting done with that first phase of site prep and footings, we're at a grand total of $26,000 and some change. If you were to do all of that yourself, you'd have $10,623 in materials, and there would be about $15,441 in labor. All right, so to continue, the structure. So the structure is going to include all of the columns, trusses, framing materials, the Versetta stone, the trims and metal, roofing, doors, windows, garage doors, basically everything it takes to enclose the structure. And the grand total for that in materials was $89,916, and that's broken down by the structure was $69,000. That's all the framing materials, metal, Versetta stone, and then the window package was $5,542. The door package was $7,339. Garage doors were $7,979. So let's talk about those garage doors. There was 3 10x8 garage doors with an R19 insulation in them. They were nice doors. The walk-through doors were Therma-Tru, and so those were roughly, $2,500 a piece. And then the windows were Windsor vinyl. I believe they were black in and black out, and those were $5,542. And there wasn't a lot of windows in this house, so that's why that was a little bit lower. The labor on the installation of the structure was $54,156. And so that comes to a total of $144,072 to put up the structure. Next, we have the under slab hydronic prep. So this includes coming in, leveling out the entire inside of the building. And there's frost protection in, make sure it's compacted, the insulation goes down, it's all taped off and sealed off properly, and then laying all of the hydronic tubing. And the materials for that were $8,767, which comes out to about $2.60 a square foot for materials. And then the installation and labor for all of that was $5,900, which comes out to about $1.75 a square foot. This is a very DIY friendly part of a build. I think most people could achieve this part. And then we go into the concrete. This is the first part where we charge a general contracting fee. The total for the concrete was $38,951. That included a 5-inch slab in the entire house. It included a front and back porch, and then it included a sidewalk that went down the side of the building to where the parking is. So then we go into the last part of phase 1, which is the insulation. I'm going to include this particular build had 3 inches of closed cell on the walls, and it had 15 inches of blown-in fiberglass in the attic. I'm just going to include the fiberglass in this section since we're talking about insulation. And there was a GC fee of 15% on these numbers. So obviously we hired out the closed cell spray foam. I did all the prep work, and that was $14,545. And then the blow-in insulation was $3,256. All right, guys, so we're gonna fly through these last few things, which is the interior framing and the trades. Interior framing was $21,330. I did that. $10,665 was materials. $10,665 was labor. This house had a septic system, which was $18,200. It was a sand filter. I know that seems like a crazy amount of money. It's just what it costs here. We have perk tests done. Based on the perk test, they will design a system, and that's what you have to put in. The water line main was a separate charge here because it had to be run 750 feet, plus there was a couple hydrants on there, and that was $7,875. Electrical was handled by the client and one of his friends who's an electrician, and that bid was $28,750. And then plumbing, HVAC, the boiler and hydronic controls, and the drywall were all handled by us. So there was a GC fee on that. The plumbing was $31,144. The HVAC was $24,750. The boiler and hydronics were $12,000, and the drywall was $18,800. And at 15%, the GC fee on that was $13,005. So guys, if you're trying to figure out how much you could save on all the trades. 40% is a very safe estimate for labor. That will get you really close on what you would have to have for material. So the grand total up to the final finishes is $425,747. Labor to this point is $152,287. GC fees are $21,546. And then if you were to self-build, that's subtracting labor and GC, it's $251,943. So the clients, they handled the project from drywall on, so they had roughly $75,000 to finish it out. So that's to buy appliances, floor finishes, paint, fireplaces, fixtures, switches, all that kind of good stuff. So that you can go a lot of different ways in that, but if you break that down by 40%, roughly $30,000 would be labor and $44,000 would be materials, for a grand total of $500,000 for the overall cost of this home. Labor and GC fees came in at $203,500. And then if you were to self-build this, handling it all yourself, you'd be right around $296,500. But let's go ahead, since we got all these numbers done, let's go ahead and jump into the tour and see what the house looks like on the inside.
All right, really excited to bring you guys inside on this tour. When you come in, you walk right into the living room. There's a living room, dining room, kitchen option that's kind of all together, creates a really nice open space, perfect to entertain, have your family all around. I think this is a really great family home. So if you have some kids and, or these folks, their kids are grown, but they have spouses and grandkids and things like that, so they can host some pretty cool parties. Going into the kitchen, these were some custom cabinets that they had made. And I think this is a really nice color combination. You can see how it's very inviting and very warm and things with the light gray tones. We have blue island here, which blue is my absolute favorite. So I'm a big fan of this. And one of the things that we talk about in design that we're really passionate about is making sure you have a nice space between your island and your cooktop or the back wall of your kitchen, because this gives your guests and you a lot of good room to move about. So this is a little bit oversized. Not everybody has this much space. So you're gonna have multiple people can pass each other really easily. Right off the kitchen is the door that goes out onto the back patio. The back patio is a little bit larger than some of the other designs you've seen, so that they have a good space for bigger furniture. They can hang out there, and then they have a beautiful view, of course. And then this is one of my favorite features in this whole house, is this wall of cabinetry that gives you a really elevated look. So if you're looking for a way to display things and a ton of extra storage, the way that they changed the color, matched it to the island versus the rest of the cabinets, and put the glass in it and things like that, have the open shelves, that all gives you a really great look and a really good option without having to have a bunch of extra pieces of furniture and stuff. This is very functional too, because you have the serving top. Pantries are, of course, a super important part of the kitchen design. This one is pretty fun. It's not an incredibly large space, but they did a really good job of adding a bunch of open shelving for storage. They have more countertops to keep your small appliances and different things on. And then they made enough room for an extra upright fridge, freezer. So that's a good spot. If you need extra refrigeration or freezer space, the pantry is a perfect spot for that. And I'm going to take you to the 2 bedrooms and bathroom that are over here on this side. But before we get into that, we have a nice simple mudroom design with some beautiful cabinetry, just good storage. I believe that their plan is to eventually add some hooks and stuff so you can hang up your coats and things like that. But this is a nice option if you don't have enough room for an entire big space for that type of thing, but still giving something that is going to look nice and be able to stay organized. One of the bedrooms in here is it's a nice, simple bedroom, big enough for a little bit of furniture, a good sized bed. The second bathroom in this design is a really nice space. So if you are looking for something that is big enough to have a couple of kids or multiple guests in at one time, this vanity would give people a lot of space to get ready. And then you have your toilet, and then there's a tub shower over here. And then behind the door, we have some more of that blue cabinetry that you're seeing throughout the house. And then we have another bedroom behind us that is very similar to the other one. Let's go check out the master. Our clients designed this master bedroom that has extra windows, which I think these above the bed, this is a really good choice if you're looking to let a lot more natural light into the room without impeding your ability to still place your bed and nightstands on the wall. Right off the bedroom is the bathroom. It has a double vanity design next to a large freestanding soaking tub with a tempered glass window. And then over here, we have the custom tile shower with the glass door. And behind and over there to the side is the toilet closet, which is one of our most popular features in this size bathroom. Then you go right into the master closet, which the clients are they're dreaming about building this out. Eventually it'll look a little bit different. And then from there, this is one of the things that's great about this design is that you can start in the master bedroom and you can make your way to the laundry area. So they chose to put a sink and more countertop and storage in their laundry area over here with the washer and dryer. This is easy location to access, but it's also a little bit separated so you're not going to be disturbed by the noise of the washer and dryer throughout the day. And then there's the access to the main part of the house again. So those bedrooms on the other side of the house, they can get to the laundry without disturbing anybody in the master suite. And we're back here in the living room. This is a very comfortable, cozy living room with the fireplace. They have a really large sectional in here, so you can get some perspective on how much you could put in this space. The 12-foot ceilings make it feel a little bit more grand. It definitely feels open. It doesn't feel crowded in here, which is one of the things that we love about a Barndominium design.
All right, so we're gonna go in here and check out the garage, utility room, and storage. So I'm gonna flip you around here. So as we come out of the house, on the left, we have the utility room. So we got the HVAC system, they got the hot water heater, they have all their electrical. And then over here, we have the in-floor heat system. All right, guys, so one thing that I highly recommend, if you're gonna have a Barndominium or just a house in general on a slab, you are going to want hydronic heat. Everything you need to do under the floor is fairly cheap. This is the expensive part. So just to prep underneath is worth it. The only thing you would need to add to do anything different than how you should normally prep for your concrete in your home is add the tubing. The tubing is roughly about $110 to $120 for a 300-foot loop. So to add that and have the option for this is a must, in my opinion. And you will not be sorry if you add this. This is such an efficient way to heat your home. And I don't think I've had one client that has not just loved it. Keep that in mind. If you're gonna have a house with a slab, hydronic heat is a must. And then opposite of the utility room is a storage room. They kind of got a mess going on here right now, but they're gonna get this organized. They're going to put a storm shelter in here, like a prefabbed one. And then they have a nice, bright 3-car garage, plenty of storage for tools, tractor, 2 vehicles. One of the cool things I like about garages is when they do the epoxy with the flex in it, just makes it nice and clean. It's easy to clean up any oil spills, anything like that. It just wipes right up. They have floor drains in each of the bays, so any snow, ice, water will melt off and go down in the drains. All right, guys, that's gonna be a wrap on this tour. It's gonna be a wrap on this video. Hopefully you guys found this interesting. Hopefully some of these square foot numbers can help you out with getting started on your own build. Don't forget, check out www.mrpostframe.com for all your Barndominium needs. We have all kinds of resources for you. As always, we appreciate you watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, share with your friends. We will catch you on the next video.